the day before. I'm planning to film my day of 1950s meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I thought I would do a little evening prep. I want to make muffins. I don't want to make them in the morning when I intend to have them for breakfast. So I thought let's do this the night before. So it's pretty late for me to be filming. I don't think I've ever filmed anything this late, but I am armed with my Betty Crocker picture cookbook, ready. That was so long. I am ready to get started on this day of 50s meals. I'm gonna make some oatmeal muffins. I think they are on page quick breads. That would be the section. There they are. Oatmeal muffins. So that is what I'm going to be making right now. Now, the first step of making these muffins is to soak 1 cup of rolled oats in 1 cup of either sour milk or buttermilk. And you might be thinking, sour milk, like what is that? How do I get that? In this case, we need 1 cup of sour milk. So you are going to need 2 items, white vinegar and milk. I'm using 2% milk, but you can also use whole milk, skim milk, whatever you have. And you can also substitute lemon juice if you'd rather have that instead of white vinegar. Take a liquid measuring cup and first measure 1 tablespoon of white vinegar into the cup, and then add enough milk to make 1 cup. Stir this together and wait 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, you can see that this has thickened up quite a bit and it is ready to use. Now that we have our sour milk, add 1 cup of rolled oats, and it specifically says rolled, don't use quick oats, use rolled, Betty says. Mix that together and then let it soak for an hour. And after 1 hour, this is what we got. I mean, is this Betty Crocker making overnight oats in 1950? Mix together thoroughly 1/3 cup of soft shortening, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 1 egg. I've got a hodgepodge of Crisco sticks here, so I'm gonna try to measure out 1/3 of a cup. I'm using butter flavored shortening, but it says that you can use part butter in place of all the shortening. That doesn't make sense. But you can use part butter, part shortening if you want. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Don't think these muffins are gonna be terribly sweet because this only makes a dozen, and that's like the only kind of like sweetening agent in it. I think that's pretty thoroughly mixed. Now come the dry ingredients. So I need 1 cup of flour. Wait, there's like many muffins on this page and I'm looking at the wrong one. Baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Okay. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt. So now we have 3 things. We have our dry ingredients, our wet ingredients, and then whatever you would call this, the oatmeal and sour milk mixture. And I need to mix these things into the wet ingredients, sort of alternating them. Do a little bit of this. Get some of this in here. I also like that this only made 12 muffins and not like a million muffins, because I can probably freeze some and give some away unless they're amazing and I eat all of them tomorrow. These are supposed to make 12 medium-sized muffins, so hopefully the standard muffin tins that I have will work okay. I went ahead and lined my tin with these liners, and they are just so dang cute. Like, look how cute. I found these at Target. I didn't want to have to grease the tins, which is probably, I mean, that's what it says to do. Probably what you would have done back in the day. Allow me this modern convenience. Use my trusty scoop. It says to fill them 2/3 of the way full, and I might be overfilling. I'm gonna put this on a sheet pan, I think. I just have visions of these like baking up and overflowing. Let's just take a little extra precaution just in case. So now I'm going to bake these in a 400-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna start with 20 and kind of like see how it goes. The timer just went off. I baked these for about 23 minutes. Started with 20, thought they needed a little bit more browning though. So you can see some of them kind of like overflowed, but it's okay. I think they look great and I am really looking forward to having these for breakfast tomorrow morning. Actually, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow in general, just doing all of the 1950s recipes. I haven't done a video quite like this one. Usually I try about 1 recipe at a time, so we'll see how everything turns out. Maybe I'll discover some new favorites. Hello, everyone. That was weird. It's morning. I'm ready to start my day with my 1950 style breakfast. I'm basing my breakfast menu off of this. For adequate meals for adults, it says fruit, cereal and milk, and bread and butter. I'm not much for cold cereal. I don't do that a lot. And I also do a little bit better when I have some protein. So I'm having the fruit, I'm kind of subbing in one of the oatmeal muffins for the bread and butter and the cereal, and then I'm adding an egg because I just do a little bit better with protein. So I'm kind of going for the complete or abundant meal, I guess. Usual breakfast is something like egg and toast. Sometimes I'll do like oatmeal if it's really cold outside. So I think this is kind of, it's along the same lines. There's an egg, there's some sort of like bread component. I do like that this cookbook has these really handy tabs because it does make things a little bit easier to find sometimes. Let's find, oh, there it is, the egg section. Look how cute. So this is like a little Humpty Dumpty themed breakfast. It looks like these little egg people, coddled eggs. How cute, how cute are these? But I am going for a baked egg. First I have to grease my little dish here from the butter dish. Dot with butter. This is a pretty butter heavy dish, but that's okay, I like butter. Putting some dots in there. Sprinkle with salt and pepper. Tablespoon of cream. My egg is in the oven. It should be done pretty soon, so I'm gonna make a little instant coffee. I don't drink a lot of hot coffee, and I don't feel like making an entire French press or anything like that, and I don't know, something about instant coffee seems kind of 1950s to me. A rounded teaspoon. I'm gonna add a little more. I'm just gonna add a little more. '50s style breakfast. I made these last night and I just popped this in the oven for a couple minutes after I baked the egg just to warm it up. So let's see, how is it gonna peel? Peeling very nicely. So there's the inside. I'm gonna taste it like without butter, but I will add some butter. It's very good. Just very lightly sweetened. Just, I think it's kind of the perfect thing in the morning. It's not like cake, like sometimes you get muffins and they're delicious, but they're basically cake. These just have like a very light sweetness. There's a little crispiness on the top. That is great. So now let's try the baked egg. I'm using a spoon. I guess that's how you do it. It's pretty good. It's like a little bit richer than I'm used to, I think, with like the cream and the butter. It's delicious. It tastes really good. I don't know that I would do this in the mornings like often because it takes 15 minutes to make this and I can make scrambled eggs in just a couple minutes. I've eaten a banana before. I don't need to try it on camera. Let's try this coffee. It's fine. I think my number one 1950s breakfast recipe for this meal is gonna be the muffin. Like, it's really good. It's got a nice like texture to it. Really enjoy that. And then runner up, I think the egg for sure. Like, it's pretty tasty. It just takes a little bit more time than I would normally take to make my breakfast in the morning. I'm gonna enjoy this and I will see you at lunch. Okay, back for lunch, and I'm having Welsh Rarebit with kidney beans over toast, frozen green beans, chilled pears, and coffee, tea, or milk. I'm gonna have tea because I don't really drink hot coffee with meals and I just never drink milk with meals, so that leaves tea. I am basing my menu on this one, Some Sunday Evening. This says supper and lunch and dishes, so I figured these could kind of go for lunch as well as dinner. So this menu, which I'm not copying exactly, it's Welsh Rarebit, tomato slices, anchovies, and gherkins, chilled pears, chocolate cupcakes, coffee, tea, milk. So I'm having Welsh Rarebit with beans in it, basically, and I'm having the chilled pears, and then I just picked a frozen vegetable. Why am I having Welsh Rarebit with kidney beans, though? Hollywood supper party favorite in the home of Joan Crawford, 3-time Academy Award winner of the movies. So I suppose if it's good enough for Joan Crawford, it is good enough for me. Also, I thought, you know, if this doesn't turn into something that I really, really love and want to eat all of, I could probably sort of repurpose it into some sort of cheesy bean dip for chips. Here we go on a 1950s lunch. First, I have to get a little bit of water simmering because I'm gonna melt some cheese in a double boiler. Also gonna get my water for the green beans started, and I'm just cooking those according to package directions. The first ingredient for Joan Crawford's Welsh Rarebit with kidney beans is 8 ounces of processed cheese. Oh yes, we have our Velveeta. Was she really actually serving this at her home? Maybe it was fashionable? All right, my water for the green beans is boiling. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those. Frozen foods were very popular by the 1950s. You know, they'd been around for several decades before, so I thought this was probably okay for me to just take a bit of a shortcut. Oh, we're melting. Right now we have just kind of one solid mass there. So next, we have a can of kidney beans, including the liquid. I don't usually use bean liquid. It's usually something that gets drained and rinsed, but I guess in this case, we'll follow what she says. Give that a bit of a stir. Also have 1/2 cup of diced green pepper. My pepper kind of turned a little red in spots if you're wondering why it looks like that. And that is it for this dish. Those are the 3 ingredients. And then we just kind of have to wait for it all to melt and come together. And I serve it over toast. So this is my lunch, my 1950s lunch. We've got the green beans, we've got the Welsh Rarebit over toast, some nice chilled pears that I got out of a can, frankly. You know, I'm not gonna tell lies here. And I'm just gonna try the Rarebit on camera because I have definitely eaten green beans before. I know what they taste like. I've had pears before. So let's do this. It's not bad, it's pretty good. I like beans. If you don't like beans, you're not going to like this. The green pepper gives it a little bit of a crunch, which is nice. It's got some nice varying textures in there. I don't know that I would make this like a lot for lunch. I don't know that Joan Crawford ever really made it for lunch. Betty might be telling us some lies. It's pretty tasty. I don't hate it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and enjoy my lunch, and I will see you at dinner time. So for dinner, the main dish tonight is gonna be chicken a la king. Can you think of a more 50s dish? So this also comes to us from the supper dishes section, and there are a lot of recipes formatted this way. It's something I haven't talked about yet. So a lot of recipes in here are sort of like a key recipe. You can see the little key. So this is like, here is your jumping off point, make this. And then to make it into different things, you kind of follow these instructions. So I'm gonna be following the instructions for chicken a la king, but they also have creamy chicken gravy, chicken Versailles, ring around the chicken. I don't know what that one is. There's probably gelatin involved. That particular recipe format can get a little bit confusing. Sometimes I've accidentally looked at the wrong one. I think I am ready to get going on this chicken a la king. So first I'm gonna get some water going over in this pan for noodles because I'm gonna serve this over noodles. I just started the wrong burner. It's fine. It's been a long day of filming. What does Betty say to do first? Melt 6 tablespoons of butter. So I have some butter. I'm actually cutting this recipe in half as I often do. Look at how lovely that is, sliding away. And just to give you a little sneak peek at dessert, I'm super excited because I made some baked custard. And I'll show you how I made it a little bit later. I think we're ready for our flour. So this is 3 tablespoons of flour that I am gonna whisk in. My chicken pot pie video, it starts very much the same way. So I'm gonna let that cook for just a minute. We don't wanna let it burn though. And then, oh, I was supposed to add pepper. We'll get there a little later. I don't have it with me right now. I'm being a little fast and loose with the measurements on the salt and pepper. I'm actually supposed to remove it from the heat, so I'm gonna turn that off. And then I'm stirring in some chicken broth. And now I'm ready to add my milk. Actually, this is half and half. It said you could add milk or cream, so I went sort of halfway between. I think I can safely switch over to the spatula. Yeah, see, it's nice and velvety. So now I am going to add some shredded chicken. I got this from a rotisserie chicken. I always like to have a little bit of shredded chicken in my freezer. I'll go ahead and add that pepper now that I didn't add earlier. This recipe doesn't have quite as much chicken in it as I would normally expect, but we'll see how it turns out. There's some other things that still go in here yet. So those other ingredients are some more green pepper from earlier today, and the star of the show as far as I'm concerned, some pimentos. In full disclosure, this was also supposed to have mushrooms, and I seriously forgot to buy some and didn't notice it until I was like ready to make this dish. So normally this would also have some sauteed mushrooms, or, you know, it's the 1950s. You could probably go canned mushrooms with this. So I'm just gonna keep that warm while the noodles cook, and then I'll go ahead and plate it up. Here we have chicken a la king over egg noodles. And then on the side, I have a little bit of carrot salad that I made earlier. So I'll go ahead and drop in some footage here of how I made that, just in case you want to try it for yourself. This was supposed to be served with crusty rolls. I don't have any crusty rolls, but I do have a loaf of sourdough bread, so that is what I went with. And then for dessert, as I showed you a little earlier, I'm gonna have some baked custard. So now for the fun part, the taste test of everything. So I'm gonna start with this carrot salad. It's pretty good. It's got a really nice bright flavor from the lemon juice. I try not to go too overboard on the mayonnaise, so it made like a nice creamy, tangy dressing. I like it. And now I'm gonna go in for the chicken a la king. That is really good. It's a very comforting, warm dish, very creamy. You could serve this over a lot of other things too. Puff pastry, rice. I did noodles, it said toast points. I had toast at lunch, so I didn't want to do that again. But I can taste the pimentos and the green pepper quite a lot. I really do wish I had mushrooms to put in this. I just didn't have time to go buy them because I'd kind of already started the process. One of the notes Betty made in the recipe is that in the South, they use half chicken, half ham. So you could do other meats in this as well. This is so good. That is a great recipe. I'm gonna try dessert now. I was gonna wait, but I think I'm just gonna try it now since I'm filming right now. So it's nice and jiggly. I'll drop in some footage of how I made this as well. I tried to make a couple of things in advance because especially with this, like I wanted it to chill and get a little bit cooled off. Texture seems really nice. I love custard. This has a little bit of an egg flavor to it, which I'm fine with. That is really good. Again, this is like a very comforting kind of meal, very homey kind of dessert, I think. I did it. I cooked an entire day of 1950s meals. It was a lot of work, mostly because filming and cooking at the same time can be a little bit difficult, but I'm gonna sit down and enjoy my dinner, and then I will leave you with some final thoughts. It's been a few days, and I took some time to reflect and think about this experiment that I did. I used my 1950 Betty Crocker picture cookbook. I mentioned that briefly in the very beginning of the video. This is an original copy. I do believe there is a reprint available. This book has been with me for such a long time. I can't tell you exactly when I got it or where it came from, but I was pretty young when it came into my life, and it is in pretty dang good condition. And I think it has a really beautiful cover. Artwork with the red and the white, very recognizable as Betty Crocker. So first off, everything that I ate that day tasted good. Everything was good. There was nothing that I made that was so bad that I had to throw it away. I used all the leftovers of the various meals. And overall, I would say it was a positive experience. Now, it was a lot of work, and that's on me because I filmed everything that I cooked that day, moving the camera around and trying to see if there's halfway decent lighting. I'm not great at lighting. Did add some extra time. I was a little bit tired by the end of the day, but I think I would do it again. I would love to do this with other decades, maybe get all of my recipes from a 1960s cookbook, 1970s, something like that, maybe even go older, 30s, 40s. I think that would be a fun thing to do. I'd have to plan it out like I did this one. It was really fun to plan this video and look through this book, choosing all the recipes. I actually did take quite a bit of time to do that, just to try to choose things that I would be able to cook on camera easily. You know, maybe you grew up during this era and you're saying, we didn't eat the stuff that you made. We were more of a meat and potatoes family. Well, I didn't want to make like an entire roast or anything like that. I really wanted to sort of show off some recipes of maybe something that you could make from leftovers or pantry items, something that would be easy for me to replicate and wouldn't take like a ton of time, like an entire big piece of meat and like potatoes and stuff like that. As for the recipes, I was surprised by some of them about how much I liked them. I think my #1 recipe for the day would have to be those oatmeal muffins. I really enjoyed those. They were kind of a nice little treat, like something that would be really nice to have with a cup of tea or at breakfast like I did. They weren't huge, but they were pretty satisfying and filling because of the oats. Overall, they were just really pleasant to make, really delicious to eat. I loved them. Second place, maybe the chicken a la king. I don't know, I liked that a lot. I thought it was really good. I really liked the carrot salad too. Betty did not give amounts on that recipe, by the way, so as you see me making it in the video, that's just, you kind of just go by taste and feel. It's like grate up a carrot, add a little lemon juice, a little mayo, that kind of thing. So I don't have exact measurements on that, unfortunately. I don't know that I'm gonna list all of the recipes in the description though, because there were so many. I'll probably put the oatmeal muffin recipe down there. I could also include the page numbers of the recipes if you have this cookbook or can get a copy at the library or something, and then you can kind of see where they are and make them for yourself. Overall, I think it was a really fun thing to try. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really did put a little extra time into it. I know it's a bit longer than what I usually do, so I really appreciate you watching and making it to the end. If you love recipes from the 1950s like I do, I have an entire playlist and I will link it in the description down below. If you'd like to see what else I'm up to, you can visit me on Facebook or Instagram. Links to both of those are in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.